Hey, what's up everybody? Joshua Casper here with another plugin review. Today we're going to be checking out FAT2 analog filter from SoundSpot. The good people over at SoundSpot sent this along to me to show you guys, so that's what we're doing here. It's a pretty simple device that has some pretty interesting things baked inside of it, and I'm using it all over the place in this demo project. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the plugin itself and then show you how I've used it inside of this project. So this is FAT2 in its default location here, or default settings. It is resizable, which is always nice if you want to get nice and big. And essentially what it is, it's a filter, right? We've got the cutoff frequency and we have a resonance percentage. There is also a slope. You can go from negative 12 dB to a more sharper 48 dB. And that's the very basics. If you come right here, you have your filter types. And as you can see, we've got a bunch of really unique ones. So we've got your standard high pass here, but then we have some uniquely shaped high pass filters. So we have an additional 4 high pass filters. Then that's the same with the low pass as well. We've got 5 different ones on top of the standard. And then we have a band pass, and then we have 5 different band passes. And then we have some effects which have kind of unique shapes to them, and you can get some really interesting results. So what you would do, for example, is choose a low pass, and then you could play with the cutoff right here in the resonance. Presets up here at the top, very self-explanatory. And there's also a modulation section. And if I click right here, this is the modulation envelope, and these are multi-stage LFOs. If I go ahead and select this and turn it on, if I double click anywhere, I'll add another point, and I can add as many points as I want. And then in between any 2 points, you have your slope value. So you can get some really intricate results. And right here is where you'll find your timing values here. So right now it's on a bar. I can put it at an eighth. And not only that, if you click right here, you'll actually snap to the grid. So now I can snap to any of these lines, the resolution lines. If I turn that off, I can go anywhere in between. So if you're looking for something more syncopated, you want to turn that on. If you're looking for something more freeform, you can easily turn it off. There's also a smoothing value right here, which just smooths out how crisp it is. And then over here on envelope 2 is the envelope for the resonance filter, or the resonance of the filter, and you can turn that on or turn that off. So as you can see here now, I've got something crazy going on the cutoff, and the resonance is moving as well. And that is FAT2 in a nutshell. Next thing I want to do is go ahead and close this down and just show you some of the ways I've used it inside of this project. So first of all, I have it on this synth right here. Pretty standard stuff, but when I add FAT2 to it, I'm using it to create sort of a plucky lead sound. And the way I'm doing that is I've just got a half a bar with this pattern here on the cutoff, and then a little bit of a resonance bump here for automation, just to give it a little bit of movement with the sound. Smoothing is pretty standard on both of them. Well, actually, I've got it quite smooth over here. And let's adjust the smoothing to hear the difference on this particular pattern. So it's very apparent there what the smoothing is doing, and that's what I've done on that. I've added a little bit of an auto panner there, just again to add a little bit of movement to it. On the top line here, again, I'm just using it here to add a little bit of modulation and movement to the sound, and I think it works really well with this style of kind of like minimal techno. And then another more practical use for something like this is I'm using it for sidechaining on the sub bass. And, you know, this is a lot more precise, where I can make the shape of how the sidechaining is happening much more exactly how I want it in terms of release time or attack time, because I can come in here and change it any of these points by myself, and I'm not using a compressor that's listening to an incoming sidechain signal. It's a lot cleaner this way. I'm definitely making sure I'm removing absolutely everything in this part in the beginning where the kick will sit, and it's just a lot more precise and a lot smoother sounding, I think, when you use something like a filter with automation on the cutoff position. And then finally, up here at the top, I'm going to go ahead and unfreeze this. I actually have 2 instances of Fat 2 working together. This is what the original sounds like. So pretty uninteresting, pretty boring. And then what I did was put a Fat 2 on here, and I believe I used one of the preset, the Sidechain Effects Riser, which made it sound like this. Which, I mean, it does exactly what it said. It got a pumping sound, and it's slowly allowing that to come in over time, and it makes it sound like a riser. However, what I did with the second instance of Fat 2 is I did the same thing, but I changed the filter type to a high-pass filter instead of a low-pass, which made it come in with the lows and then kind of sweep out towards the highs, which I found is a little bit more how a riser should act, because you can think about maybe your kicks coming in and you're going to add that low frequency sound, so you don't really need it inside of the riser anymore. And this is what it sounds like now. And I think that really sounds really, really cool. So you can imagine if you're stacking sounds on top of one another and using this sort of sweeping effect, you can really get some interesting builds and breakdowns for that matter. As I said in the beginning of the video, a very straightforward plugin to use that has a lot of real world hands-on use cases and is a great utility to have inside of your collection. I'm going to leave a link to it in the video description if you want to check it out. And as always, I'm Joshua Casper. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.